case of a young lady who all banks now are afraid of in this country because she took them to court, and the only thing she wanted was to request for her bank statement. If you request for bank statement, Mr. Speaker, particularly if you take a loan, most financial institutions that probably have transferred your loan from one bank to another will hesitate giving you that statement. Recently, Mr. Speaker, I was approached by an MCA, a sitting MCA from Kiambu, who brought in a gentleman who took a loan from one financial institution, and then when he took a loan from that financial institution, the institution is National Bank of Kenya. The manager from that branch, Mr. Speaker, advised him that the best way for him to grow his business is through invoice discounting. From that moment, the gentleman became disillusioned because he didn't know how the interest started accumulating. Whenever he went there and he would say, "Can you give me the amortization table? Let me see how much I've paid you versus how much I need to pay you." The story, Mr. Speaker, will shock you. The gentleman borrowed 26 million. By the end of the day, the banks were discussing on how they can convert the 23 million to a loan of 126 million. This is affecting very many Kenyans. So I would request the committee that will be looking at this matter to be able to summon Kenya Bankers Association, the governor of Central Bank, so that they can be able to go through, and any other Kenyan who is out there who is suffering. Because, Mr. Speaker, the statement that has been brought by Senator Tabitha is a statement that is affecting very many Kenyans. I know I have assisted so many Kenyans renegotiate, restructure their loans from different financial institutions, but this is a matter that this Senate, now that it is seized of that matter, the committee must now take a keen interest and have a serious inquiry, because these are the things that leads to a class action suit on financial institutions. There's a lot of fraud in Kenyan banks, a lot of charges which are charged, and I think it is a high time that we broaden the scope so that we can be able to save Kenyans who are losing a lot of money. Mr. Speaker, on the second statement by Senator Chute, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, we had the control of budget in one of our committees. And it shocked us because this issue of pending bills is really a creation of some unscrupulous individuals who sits in the county treasuries, and also, most importantly, the CEOs of finance in every county government. There's absolutely no reason, Mr. Speaker, as to why counties should be requisitioning money to pay a certain expense but end up diverting money. We looked at Article 207 of the Constitution. We looked at the PFM Act in terms of money being requisitioned from the control of budget. And I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, this issue, if you look at PFM Act, I believe it's section 103.3, it sets the head of Treasury to be the CEC Finance. But the interpretation, even by the control of budget, is that the CEC Finance is not the head of Treasury, and he needs second approval. So, Mr. Speaker, I would request that the committee which will be looking at this matter invite the control of budget, and this House comes up with a mechanism whereby the control of budget, because Article 207 mandates her to only release money that she feels is going to be used effectively after following the requisition, to ensure that she can come up with an administrative process or procedure so that whenever county government requisition money, they must indicate there that we have requisition money to pay NHIF, to pay NSSF, to pay all these other retirement benefits. Because it is sad that Kenyans go to hospitals, they cannot be treated because their NHIF card is not working, yet that money was deducted. It is even in their payslip. It shows that that money has been deducted. And, Mr. Speaker, this is not only affecting county governments. Even here in the Senate, you know, by the time we get our own money for our staff, sometimes we get letters from KRA saying these statutory reductions have not been remitted, you have to pay a penalty. Sometimes we go into our own pocket to pay for our staff, NHIF, or we prepay in advance so that if any of our staff who are working so hard for us fall sick, they can be treated. So we need to be proactive, and I would request that Senator Chute, you push Senator Ali Roba, have a discussion, see how administratively the controller budget can ensure that any requisition, before she approves a second requisition, for requisition of salary, county government must demonstrate that they have actually paid these statutory bodies. Finally, Mr. Speaker, on the other statement by my good sister, Senator Hamida, the issue of doctors and the issue of healthcare in this country is something which we must all look at on a very serious note. I want to inform all our colleagues that I sit in the Health Committee. And when we are looking at the budget policy statement, some of the direction that the government wants to take us leads to clawing back on devolved functions. Health is devolved. Health being devolved, it is a shame, Mr. Speaker, that majority of money, in fact, if you look at the budget, which is held by the Ministry of Health, it is equivalent to shareable revenue for about 5 counties. The direction that we are taking on, Mr. Speaker, now, where the Treasury is proposing to do the following things. One, to hire community health workers. Number two, to set up a commission similar to the one of teachers, is something which is going to claw back, and in most cases, our doctors, our kids will not continue being employed. I think what we ought to do, Mr. Speaker, and I hope that the committee can explore this, is where we as a Senate, we push for more money to go to the health, to the counties, and mandate county governments to give us a list of all the doctors that they have hired. We work with our institutions, because we are now getting doctors from Cuba. I don't have a problem with getting expertise. But where are we getting doctors from Cuba, yet our own sons and daughters are unemployed? If we look at this issue of the health devolved function, and we push this government to ensure that more money goes to counties, more money is allocated, and each of the county allocates about, at a minimum, 30% of their budget to the health, item or docket, we can be able to hire more teachers, more doctors. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you. I know I'm short of time, but I hope that this item will be able to assist this country.
Okay. Next, last statement by the majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, before I before I give my statement, Mr. Speaker, you know I'm laughing because it's my birthday, and the senator for Migori